Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the All Sports Podcast with me, Matt, and today, Joel. Hey, Joel.
Hello, Matt.
And Femi. How are you, Femi?
I'm good. Lovely to be here, making this a regular thing now. I mean, what better thinking I do with my day, or should I say my evening, and spend it with All Sports Podcast.
You've got the gig. You don't need to lay it on so thick.
Yeah, laying it on thick and wearing the Gymshark gear. He knows how to tick all the boxes.
Hey, I'm a politician at heart, mate.
Oh, yeah, if you were, you'd have known not to win the quiz last week.
I mean,
14, you should have left it at 14 for each of you.
Forgot about that. Deadlock.
That's crazy.
It was a deadlock. Great feedback on the quiz. Everyone's enjoyed playing at home.
It's good.
There was some feedback about the way that Femi relayed his answers.
Well, I mean, he had some live feedback about that, so I'm wondering if you planted this.
What was the feedback?
Your answers sounded disingenuous. Does that ring true, Joel?
I mean, no comment from me.
I mean, you did comment last week.
I've had my say.
Yeah. All right, Femi, last take from you.
Mate, do you know what it is? Obviously, with my answers, I have to, take a deep pause, deep breath as well, before I give the right answer. I literally wrote it down, of course, but I mean, listen, can't please the haters. Please them.
Well, it was just audio, but for those that could see it on video, it looked like you were looking for your answers on the ceiling.
Yeah, it wasn't clear where you'd written them.
All right, on this week's pod, we'll see where we go. We're going to kind of aimlessly wander through the weekend sport, but we're actually going to start at Champions League from last week. Arsenal, Man City, Aston Villa in action. Is there another team? Is there another English team in the Champions League?
Who did you name?
Arsenal, Man City and Villa. Liverpool. Probably no better place to kick us off, Joel, than at Villa Park. How'd it go?
Yes, it was amazing. Honestly, I mean, obviously it got the big build-up, and people always say, it'll be amazing to hear the anthem at Villa Park. But genuinely, that was unbelievable, listening to the anthem live. Like, I can't believe City fans boo that. Like, it is such an amazing thing to hear. Like, obviously, they've done it for a long time now and they've got their reasons, whatever. But, I mean, as a complete novelty for me, obviously, as a Villa fan, never thinking that I would hear that. That was a very special moment. And there was like this completely spontaneous shouting of the champions right at the end of the anthem by loads of people. And it's like, I love that about football. It's like that isn't pre-planned. It's just all of these people. I mean, it's a bit sad, but like all of these people in one place, just vocalizing something all at the same time, completely spontaneously. So yeah, I mean, that was genuine, like pinch yourself kind of moment, really. And the game itself, I thought Villa held their own mostly. Like Bayern had a lot of ball. I don't think they were at their sharpest, and I wonder how much the new format is playing into that. Like, there's not loads of jeopardy on them losing that game. They've got lots more opportunities to get the wins that they need, to accumulate the points that they need. And you don't need that many. I think from what I've read, it's like 12 to 15 points is going to be enough to secure.
I think 14's automatic. Yeah, 10 to 12 is pretty much guaranteed. And 8 will still get you through to the top 19 or whatever, 19, top 20 or odd.
Yeah, I heard like 9 points has like a 90% chance of getting you into the playoffs. Obviously, the bigger clubs want to avoid that. They want to play fewer games, but ultimately, there isn't, like, at this stage, against a team like Villa away from home, I think they weren't quite at their absolute like must-win sharpness, and you could kind of feel that a little bit. But yeah, so Villa held their own, and I mean the goal was out of this world.
Have you turned now? Are you now requesting that he shoots from range?
Yeah. So obviously I told the story about me shouting no against Everton at home when he rifled one in from 35 yards. But yeah, now everybody's shouting shoot, and I'm shouting shoot with them. Yes.
Yeah.
even at the United game, literally, it was, I think, halfway line.
He was like on the edge of his box.
People shouting shit. Honestly, what a goal, mate. He's a special player. I mean, it's crazy. He signed a new contract now.
The big club starts sniffing around and Villa get him straight to the negotiation table.
I reckon he's got a release clause. Like, surely he's got to have a release clause, because I know every chance he gets, he talks about a big club. Literally, after the game, he was talking about Bayern, how special, how big they are, and how he's always dreamt of playing for them.
What a cheeky guy.
He came on against United. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a tangent, but he came on against United yesterday. And I think he helped someone up like immediately. Like, he helped up a United player pretty much straight away. And like a few of us were kind of saying, he's looking for a move. He's buttering him up. So yeah, it's like you say, he's a special player. He's got a special mentality. That is definitely true. Like, he completely believes in himself, and that will take him wherever he wants it to take him. That, and like his physicality and his talents is going to be whatever he wants it to be. So, yeah, amazing moment for him. Obviously, Neuer takes his chances, and a lot of the time they get a lot out of that, Bayern, and they did throughout the game. Like, there were a couple of moments where Watkins kind of looked like he was getting through, but in those moments, like, Neuer was right on the edge of his box, and he was going to get there before Watkins anyway, even if Meccano hadn't dragged him down twice or whatever. So yeah, they get a lot out of that, but Villa had obviously noticed it, and Emery was talking a lot afterwards about that. They talked about it a lot, so that maybe Duran in that moment didn't really need to think that much and could just take the shot on, type of thing. But yeah, amazing night, like a real kind of something that people have spoken about is it's like a linking of the generations, like the people that were there in '82 at that Bayern game, and then people who were there. Obviously, it's not a final, and there's like, it's hard to describe to somebody who's not a fan who goes, but yeah, it really feels like a joining of those generations, having seen that.
Where's it go down in terms of your top Villa memories?
Yeah, it's high. Yeah, it was always going to be, like we were talking about it before the game, about how it's probably one of the biggest games we've been to. Like, some other games have felt as big, like semi-finals, those playoffs when we played in those, they felt absolutely massive.
Those final day relegation battles.
Exactly. But it's true. Like that West Ham game in lockdown.
It was 21. It was 21, wasn't it?
They call it restart or something. Anyway, yeah, that game was huge, and it's like nothing will ever, like those types of games will always be there where there's like so much jeopardy on them. But this one was significant for like sentimental reasons, as well as being a significant moment in bringing like the top level of European football back to Villa Park. So yeah, lots of sentimentality around it. But
before the game even started, and then you went and won the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And for it to be the same scoreline, for there to be like parallels between, I think in the 1982 final, Peter Whiff scored in like the 67th minute or something like that, and like John Duran getting one in the 78th or whatever. Like, you know, they were very similar games. Bayern had a lot of the ball, had the better of the chances, but Villa held strong. Amazing goalkeeping performance, some brilliant saves from Martinez on the night, and yeah, nicked it at the end with a special goal.
But yeah, I'd say it was a really good game. Honestly, I enjoyed it as a neutral. I mean, I find myself saying I enjoy quite a lot of games as a neutral these days, because United are just playing absolute rank.
Yeah, you've got to really lean into the neutral side of football.
Honestly, mate. But I mean, last week we were talking about Brighton's high line. I think Bayern were playing a very, very high line as well. I think just a quick word on what Company has done with the team, playing some really good football as well. I mean, Musiala didn't start the game. He come on second half, had a decent impact as well. I think he left the game injured, to be fair. But overall, it was a really good game. Banger of a goal, special player, special talent. Emery, man, what a manager. What a manager. Honestly, really, really good
The
manager.
one that got away for Arsenal.
Arsenal. And for the longest time, you hear Arsenal fans saying, yeah, get rid of him, making fun of good evening and all of that. Just the whole...
Still do, yeah.
They still do. I mean, you know what? He says it correctly now anyway. Yes, but I think, Emery, he's a special manager. He doesn't get, a lot of the credit, that he deserves, I'd say. Really, really top manager. I mean, he's done it at the big games. Honestly, it was a good game with Bayern, but I think the United game kind of puts things in perspective, and you kind of have to expect Villa to just sort of be in and around the European teams for like the top 6, top 7, but maybe just not quite the top 4.
Yeah, it's the same. I think it's the same for all of the teams that are in the Champions League this year. It's going to be difficult. You've really got to manage the squads. They expect to also have a run in the FA Cup, and you can see they're also taking the whatever it's called cup seriously as well, fielding fairly strong teams. What's it called?
Don't do that.
Carling
Don't
Cup.
do that. Do not do that. Because if Arsenal have been winning that cup, you would not be calling it the what's it called cup. Give it the respect it deserves, mate. Give it the respect.
Well, I did by calling it the what's it called cup. That was the respect it. It just needs to be made into like a reserve team cup. It just needs to be officially a reserve team cup, and you can only play a maximum of 3 first team registered players or something, because it is what it is. That is how it's done anyway. If you win it, then you've won a trophy. If you don't win it, then it's not a real trophy. That's how everyone feels.
Yeah, true say.
I mean, this is a bit of a tangent, but it's just the way that people talk about football now. Like, if you won a trophy back before social media, before there were this many podcasts, before there were this many people talking about football, it literally wouldn't matter one jot. Like, all that matters is you won that trophy. Like, it doesn't matter where it ranks within the trophies that are won, or the context of like who the other team were in the final, how you got to the final. Like, none of that mattered. All it was about is being there on the day, seeing your team lift the trophy. And now it's like forensically examined for lots of reasons. You know, we take football really seriously, and you know, I love football, I do as well. But ultimately, what really matters is you being there on the day, enjoying it with other people around you.
So sorry, I was going to say, Joe, hate watching is now a bigger sport. You know, if we really think about it, loads of fans probably watch football now to watch the other team lose and even watch their own team win. I mean, it is what it is now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we saw, just going back to my point about the teams, the British teams specifically that are in the Champions League. I think we saw it a little bit this weekend in the Prem, that they looked a little bit leggy. I mean, Arsenal going behind against the run of play against Southampton at home as well. City were 1-1, I think, at halftime as well.
City were a bit fortunate on Saturday. A little bit lucky. Gave up some really big chances.
I swear Southampton is Arsenal's bogey team now.
Really?
I mean, it feels like a disservice to how far they've come, but I actually feel like it's more like Brighton and Villa have been Arsenal's bogey teams. But that's kind of a disservice because they're not like a 15th to 20th position team that you just can't beat. That used to be like Stoke for Arsenal back in the day.
Yeah.
But now teams that we really struggle to get past are like Villa and Brighton, as we obviously proved against Brighton earlier in the year. And surprised about the Villa result, that it was actually more comfortable than I thought it would be. But
it's funny you mentioned Stoke. I saw an interview, literally, I think last week, about a Stoke player saying Tony Pulis absolutely hated Wenger.
Did he?
Yeah.
Was it Rory Delap?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember who it was. But literally saying that he hated Wenger so much. Like, even the game where Shawcross went in on was it Aaron Ramsey? I think. Yeah, literally how
broke his leg.
Broke his literally.
Yeah,
how he was getting onto the players, he was getting them pumped, and how that definitely contributed to the injury as well. So I don't think it was a nasty tackle, to be fair.
Just a leg breaker. Yeah, that makes me feel quite old now, having been able to watch the whole of Rory Delap's career and now watching his son in his career, mid-20s.
He's looking good, isn't he? He's scoring some goals.
Liam Delap is a solid player. Ipswich have got a load of potential this year.
But they still haven't won a game.
Exactly. That's what we're saying. Now you sound like Pep. You have a lot of potential. You know, you're praising the opposition team even after losing.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. They've showed a lot of promise, but ultimately the Prem is so unforgiving. And actually winning games in the Prem. There was a video doing the rounds of Thomas Frank after the Brentford Wolves game. He was doing his post-match in the dressing room. I don't know if Brentford are filming something or if they release that type of content or whatever. But anyway, there was this behind-the-scenes footage of him addressing the players after the game. And one of the first things he said was, we never take for granted wins in the Premier League. Winning in the Premier League is a big deal. Like, there's things that we can fix, whatever, but you've won a game in the Premier League, and that will always be a big deal. So, like, I feel like those types of clubs recognise that. They know how hard it is to win games. And from when I've been watching Villa struggling in the league, I can definitely relate to that. You feel like you just get in, you start looking at the fixtures coming up, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, where are we going to win a game?
Have you started to take it for granted a little bit over the last 18 months?
Yeah, 100%. Like it happens. It's mad how quickly it happens. Like, Villa haven't been good for that long. They've only been good for the best part of 2
years.
Like, and all of a sudden you're going to Wolves at home, and you're like, nothing less than a win will do. Like, that is the only result that we can come away with today. So it does happen really quickly. But yeah, I do also have the flip side of it, and it is important to remember that those clubs who come up, winning games is hard.
Yeah. I was going to say, you mentioned Wolves again.
Good game.
They continue to be playing really good football at times, and they just got outscored by Brentford. Wolves' defense was leaky, but Brentford attacked incredibly well. Specifically, Mbeumo is a phenomenal player.
He's on my FPL. He's just bagging me goals and points.
I mean, he should be in anyone's because he's value. But he runs the game, and he is so potent in attack. I don't know if he'd get into every team, but he would definitely get into most teams, because you have to have a player like him. If you're going to win a match, you need a player like him that can score out of anything, and he does, and time again.
I think that's even credit to. Sorry, go on, Joel.
No, you go, Kenny.
I think that's even credit to Thomas Frank, like the work he's done with the team. Oh, mate, they are playing some special football. Literally, beforehand we always said Ivan Toney, you're almost a one-man band. But now, he's left. We even had, a whole 6 months where he wasn't playing football, and they were still playing, fairly decent. And now they've got a proper team, and there's just, I think all around they play proper football. Norgard, we have Pinnock, even a centre back, contributing to goals, which is, Damsgaard, the Danish midfielder at the 10, who had a really good game as well. So they have a really good team. Even they got Nathan Collins at the back as well, scoring goals. Good old Nathan Collins as well. So honestly, they play some really, really good football. Honestly, really, really good. I'm enjoying watching Brentford play. They're one of my favourite teams to watch in the Premier League.
They start fast,
mate.
They sprint in the middle and then sprint at the end. They're just all out. They are great to watch. They're box office.
It's like a FIFA glitch, mate. That one, literally. From kickoff, boom, 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 goal. I don't know how they're doing it, mate. It's different, completely different. But they've got a really, really good team.
I love that they're not scared to play like football that's not easy on the eye. They are happy to go very direct, happy to take long throws, happy to flood the box. Like, they do all those kind of old school things, but they do have this reputation of like also being able to play really good football. So like, yeah, I think that's why I like Frank. I think he's very pragmatic. I don't know if a move to a bigger side who are like competing towards the top end of the league will materialise for him. Really, he's been linked with some big jobs, hasn't he? Like, he was kind of quite heavily linked with Liverpool this summer, I feel like. So yeah, whether something like that will come off for him at some point, I don't know. But yeah, he's definitely instilled something there in them.
I've got a mate that always says, like, I think the only reason he hasn't gotten that move is because of his looks. He just hasn't got that top six player look. I don't know what it is, whether it's the hairline, whether he used to go Turkey, get that fixed, mate, or just. But honestly, I think he's a really good player. I think he would get into the United team at this stage. Anyway, I think he probably put in a decent shift against the Tottenham team, I'd say. But Spurs. Come on, mate. Spurs will do Spurs things as always, eh? So you know what?
Yeah.
I know cheeky little smile there, Matt.
Yeah. You said a little while before. You said about watching games of teams and you're just watching for them to lose. If I'm tuning in and Spurs are on TV, I'm there for the loss, and that brings me great satisfaction, as it should for any local rivalry.
Yeah, that's what rivalries are about. I can add a more objective point of view to this.
Go on then, rather than my smirk.
I watched the first 55 minutes of this in the pub after the Villa game, and Spurs looked brilliant. Like, first half, they looked like Spurs from early last season again. Like, all of the play was in Brighton's half. They were flooding forward, creating chances. Solanke was looking really good. Like, the comms were talking about the fact that he was like occupying a different space to what was available last year and stuff like that. They were going into quite a lot of detail, but he just looks like a good fit for that team, I think. So all of that looks great. It goes to half time. We're kind of like, well, we might as well go. It feels like game over. And then I get home 20 minutes later and it's 3-2 Brighton. And talking to my mates who were in the pub with me, I'm like, did not see that coming. Was not expecting that. So it's amazing like how quickly it can change. But I think there's two factors. One is that Brighton have got this ability to really capitalise and score goals in bunches because they're relentless in the way that they attack down the wings. And I do think that Spurs might have been bitten by the European heavy legs as well in the second half. Like, obviously,
because they played Thursday night as well.
Yeah, they played Thursday. Yeah, obviously they play on the edge, and Postecoglou likes him to be there. He's not like a pragmatist. He's not looking at that when Brighton score and thinking, "Oh, we might need to slow this game down, make some changes." He's thinking, keep it as it is, get another one, and then we'll be pragmatic. I think that bites him, and I think it did on Sunday.
Man, I love Brighton, man. Honestly, I saw a stat that Danny Welbeck has now scored more goals than Eric Cantona. You know, with striker midfielder, definitely.
What, in the Premier League?
Yeah, in Premier League, yeah. But I mean, we know Eric Cantona, he scored quite a lot of goals. But even Danny Welbeck now, what was he? 33, 32? I mean, he looks about 25.
He looks fantastic, doesn't he? Yeah.
he looks great for his. He's 33, so he's still very, very young.
Honestly, like
in life terms,
mate, he was balling out. He's what we call, you know what? He's a top striker. You know, when you need an elite forward, he gets you goals. To be fair to him, he's probably underrated, I'd say, in the Premier League.
Do you think so?
Definitely underrated. Arsenal, he's done a decent job as well.
Did he?
Decent. I say decent. I remember he was injured. He was injured quite a bit.
I think he was inconsistent. He was inconsistent at United and inconsistently injured. At Arsenal, as a striker, the main striker, he played almost 90 games and he only got 16 goals. At United, he played 92 games and only got 20 gols. So it's not great ratios. It's only at Brighton that he's actually been.
I think he's found the right environment.
And he offers a bit more than goals as well. I think just the way he plays, he offers a bit more than goals. He's quite technical as well. I mean, would you take him over Gabriel Jesus?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
I would.
He's kept good forwards out at Brighton. Like Ferguson has come through and wasn't really able to nail down a place. And Joe Pedro has been there for a while now, and it is mostly like, I think when he's available, but he would be at most rotated with Welbeck, and I think that has like helped Welbeck in terms of his longevity. I don't know if he's doing a kind of thing where maybe he doesn't train quite as much or whatever, because he did suffer with a lot of injuries, didn't he? But he didn't really seem to anymore. He seems to have put that behind him. So whether that's like
I think you're right,
workload thing, or whether he's doing extra bits and pieces to make him durable. But I do like him. I think I would stop short of calling him elite.
Yeah, I'd say he is a Premiership squad striker. He's not a guaranteed nail. He's not a nailed on 9 for me at Arsenal. So he scored 16 in 88.
He scores big goals
at Arsenal, and Jesus 15 in 58. So in 30 less appearances, he's only 1 goal behind, which is why I'd take Jesus. He's got a better scoring ratio. And similarly, I think he gets important goals too. But neither of them are my preference. Like neither of them I'm saying I want Arsenal's number 9 to be. Arsenal's still crying out for a proper number 9, as most teams are.
Havertz, he's doing a really good job so far.
Yeah, he's not a traditional 9, and I like the position that Arteta has got him playing at the moment, and I think he's really versatile as a forward because he plays a little bit of the 9, he plays a bit of 10, he drifts out wide, he drops deep and gets the ball. But Arsenal's wingers fall into that as well and will come across into the middle, will stretch out wide. It's not like what you had. It's not like what you had with England in the summer, with Harry Kane playing as a number 9, having to drop deep to get the ball and having no options up top. Like Havertz has got so many options with Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think that's probably similar to Jesus. That's probably why he's playing. I mean, he's scoring more goals than Welbeck, to be fair.
It's getting the most out of Havertz playing in this system for sure. Is it long term what is going to make Arsenal successful? I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know what success looks like long term for Arsenal in terms of their forwards. This seems like it's a fix at the moment with the players that he's got, rather than what his end game is.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge, isn't it? Whether when they bought Havertz, this was the plan, or whether they're like making use of what they've got. And if they had the opportunity to go and get an out and out 9, and there was like no questions asked, there's an out and out 9, elite level 9 right here who you could come and take, would you take it? I wonder if they would do that or not. Like, I think there's been a lot of chat over the last year or so that that's what Arsenal are missing, but actually there's no guarantees that makes you better, is there? So
no. And we've brought in 9s in the past, as many other teams have done too. You bring in a forward thinking they're going to be the answer, and it's probably the hardest position to fill in a Prem team specifically.
I mean, you got Victor Osimhen. I think he would have done a decent job for Arsenal. You reckon?
Hey?
Victor Osimhen?
It's hard to know because he's playing Italian league is so different to the Prem. It's really, really hard to know. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Fair point. Actually, let's talk about Liverpool. They're top of the league. I'll let you start off with Liverpool.
They look so normal,
comfortable,
and that is it. Yeah, that is.
You mean comfortable?
You have to remind yourself. Yeah, exactly. That you have to remind yourself that they got a new coach. It's just complete continuity, and if anything, they look even more secure, even more in control in games. They're not really conceding chances. I think I saw something earlier today that they've conceded like 60 less shots or something in the same number of games as last season, like controlling the games. And obviously that's what all these big teams want at the moment. They want to be able to control all aspects of the game, and Liverpool are 100% doing that. I think I assumed they would drop off a little bit because it just didn't feel like Slot was the type of coach. I mean, obviously it's complete prejudice from me. Like, it didn't feel like he was the type of coach who could come in and pick it up as quickly as he can do, instill his ideas as quickly as he has. But I think he's been really clever with how much he's asked them to do and how much he's changed it, because actually I think he hasn't changed that much. He's tweaked, and it's really paying off for them.
I'm gonna read out Liverpool's next 10 games, and you tell me how many of them they win.
Yes.
Chelsea, Leipzig.
Yes. Yeah.
Arsenal away.
No.
Yeah. No.
Brighton away.
Yes.
Maybe.
It's the Carabao Cup.
Doesn't matter. Skip it.
And then Brighton. And then Brighton at home.
Brighton at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you reckon it'll be on 2 weekends in a row?
Yeah. Brighton, I don't think they'll be upset about that.
This quiz was so easy.
Bayer Leverkusen.
That's a tasty game, isn't it?
Home or away? Liverpool have got by home or away?
Home.
Yeah, you say that, Joel, but it isn't because they're going to pick up points in other games. So,
yeah. But we talked about it earlier with the Jeff.
Yeah, so home to Leverkusen, I feel will be quite comfortable for them. I don't know how much of a fortress Anfield is. I mean, they're just not losing games at the moment. They've lost just to Forest, but aside from that, they've not lost. So I guess it is a fortress, but yeah.
Home to Villa.
Yeah, probably.
Like as matchups go, what I think about when you ask me about the fixture is home or away, but then Liverpool's against the opposition's defence and the opposition's forwards against Liverpool's defence. And I find it hard to see past Liverpool's attack in most games.
Yeah, but you got to remember they're playing these games consistently. That's back to back to back to back to back.
They've been doing that. They've been doing that for the last 6 years.
There's no doubt that this run of fixtures that you've just read out from is a test. 100%.
Yeah, so that's the test. I see them probably winning 4 out of 10.
Really?
We're going to come back to this. Of course we will. 4 out of 10.
Well, fortunate podcast is recorded. We've got the international break first, so
yeah, mate. What is the point of the international break? We've had
This is
two
the worst
I
one.
know this is definitely the worst one because the last one was only 3 weeks ago.
You've got loads of players who pulled out the England squad. You've got Mainu who's pulled out, Morgan Gibbs-White, he's pulled out as well. I think 2 other players. I mean,
Concer's out, yeah.
Concer's out.
I say they're out. They'll have niggles. They're not long-term injured. If someone's injured the week leading up to international duty, playing, I mean, I can't even tell you that they're playing tomorrow night.
Yeah, probably playing Malta or something. The usual. I feel like we play Andorra
Who
like
England play?
Wednesday.
Yeah, they got Greece and it's gone there. But yeah, it's nobody big.
Well, Greece have won a major tournament more previously than we have. More previously, is that a phrase? More recently.
Was it 2002 or 2004? The Euros.
Yeah, they won the Euros at home. The home Euros.
Yeah, Jamaica should add that to the quiz.
Well, we just revealed the answer.
I remember that year.
It's a surprising number of teams win their home tournaments.
Do you know the number?
No, it's a surprising number.
A quarter.
The other game is Finland. Quite a few players have pulled out today. Morgan Gibbs-White, Concer, you mentioned. I think there's a couple of others, and they haven't committed to replacing them. That tells you a lot, I think.
Probably end up playing on 21s.
I don't know if they can. I think it would just be like the 2 different sides. Basically, they'll play like 2 different teams if they can.
There's no excitement for the international break at this stage. I think the international break is probably just there for teams to literally just look at their managers, think of replacing them, start planning towards the next couple of games. I mean, that's a hint for United. It's the right time. It is absolutely the right time to get a new manager in. I mean, you might even...
What, now? Next week?
Yes. You might even get Wolves making that decision as well.
So, yeah, we spoke about the odds checker last week. I mean, the least likely team to get rid of their manager, guess who?
City, the least likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric Ten Hag.
I think he's got...
And then it's Gary O'Neill, then Russell Martin, Sean Dyche.
I think Ten Hag's got a stay of execution with that draw, to be honest. They don't seem ready to make a change to me.
Well, I think they want someone lined up. I think they're doing the groundwork now. Ineos, what's his name? Yeah, so Jim Ratcliffe.
I was going to call him Daniel then.
What's that Harry Potter Ineos guy? It wasn't damning, but it also wasn't a vote of confidence that he said it's not up to me when he was asked if he was going to get the sack, and he said it's not up to me. I mean,
I actually read read that as being relatively refreshing, actually, in that he was basically saying, I've got people in charge of the football side of the club, and it's their decision to make, not mine, and I've got a lot of time for that.
You see, the Villa game literally had all like 6 of them turning up like the Avengers. You see what's his name, Ashworth. You also see even Sir Alex as well. So like all of them just lined up, waiting to execute him.
I mean, I don't know if it's that or the fact that United always win at Villa Park, and that's why they were all there. I don't know.
I don't know if it was so much the Avengers as
probably
more like the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Anyway, that's enough football.
That was a lot of football.
Yeah, it was a lot of football.
There is other sport going on in the world for the All Sports podcast. I was across England, Pakistan today.
The cricket.
And I kind of wish I wasn't because they're playing in 35-degree heat. All of the English players had some pretty bright red faces at the end of the day's play. They're all suffering in the heat, and it's just standing out in the field for 8 hours, 35 degrees, playing on an absolute road where they're struggling to take wickets. Your mate Chris Swokes, Joel,
did he take one?
Toiling away, but he did manage to take one at the end of the day.
He's such an England conditions bowler, though, isn't he? Like, that's always been Wokes' thing. So I'm not surprised that he's struggled.
So they took, but in the end, they did start to turn the tide late on in the afternoon. Took a couple of quick wickets, and then took a wicket very late on in the day to make it a much more respectable score. The reverse fixture of this a couple of years ago when they last played in Pakistan, England reached 500 runs on the end of the first day. Again, these pitches are absolute roads. They're not spinning at all until day 3.5, day 4. So expect that we'll see some very, very low scores then. But until then, it's brilliant batting conditions. So it's going to be a real test of stamina, considering they were playing in Bristol 8 days ago and it was 6 degrees.
Yeah, slightly different condition.
6 degrees and mizzle, to playing in Multan in central Pakistan and 35 degrees of blistering heat.
Wait, you see loads of players on their towels and just literally fighting for their lives, mate.
They're fighting for their lives. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. But that's what's great about having cricket back in Pakistan, is it isn't just about being in Pakistan. It's the challenge of the conditions and the climate as well. And those home conditions for the Pakistan players. I mean, for a good 10 years, they weren't able to play at home because of security issues. So it's brilliant that they're able to play there again now. So we went back there again for the first time just a couple of years ago. So it's nice that they've been able to put on another fixture again, although stadiums are relatively quiet, and also it seems even more quiet because all of the fans are in the upper tiers, in the shaded areas.
Only 4 more days of toil for England.
4 more days of toil. Well, I'm hoping at some point tomorrow England will come out to bat. I'm just at the moment I'm looking at
the scorecard and I'm thinking Pakistan haven't scored like that quickly, but they've still got loads of runs. I'm struggling.
They were initially scoring quickly. They were initially scoring at 5.5 and over, but it's slowed down to under 4 by the close of play.
Yeah, those two at the end have slowed it down, haven't they? Azam and Shakir have both scored at 3 and over. Or
well,
like
yeah.
that.
So and not surprisingly with Babar Azam, because he's been top 3 cricketer batsman in the world for 3 or 4 years straight until about 18 months ago. And now he's on a terrible streak where he's not been able to get past 29 runs for 16 consecutive innings. And then on this one, he does get past it, but then gets out for 30. So yeah, he's not managed to convert 20 to 50 for 16 consecutive innings.
I mean, he's lost concentration there, hasn't he? He's gone, yes, finally, I've broken the curse. Yeah. He's immediately gone.
Celebrated 30 as though it was a century. Yeah, so Shan Masood got 150 today and is Pakistan's captain. And there are calls for him to step down or be sacked because he's not actually captained them to a victory in any test match yet. So not easy to be a Pakistan cricketer at the moment.
I want to ask, what has happened to Ollie Robinson? Does he just not get picked?
I don't really know if anything specifically has happened to him.
He was a fixture for a while, wasn't he?
More than, yeah, and he was. And then stuff happened around comments that he'd made in the past. Yeah, so I think they were racial. I can't remember 100%, but I think it was racist remarks that he'd made when he was younger that had come out. I say younger, he was still an adult and should still be condemned. What I don't like is when people late 20s say, I was younger and I've learned a lot. They were an adult, tweeting stuff out when you're an adult, you're still an adult. It doesn't excuse it because it was 10 years ago. So I don't like that I was younger thing. Anyway, I think one of the biggest problems he's got is that Gus Atkinson was on such good form over the summer.
Yeah, he's had a good summer, hasn't he?
Burst onto the scene, and if there was anyone whose place Robinson was going to take, it would be Gus Atkinson. So I think that's probably more the case. So with Robinson is 30. He came into the England lineup a little bit later, but it wasn't in the McCullum-Stokes era particularly. So I just don't know that he fits how they want to play. They're definitely looking at the younger players. They're bringing in debutants like Shoaib Bashir who's a spinner at Somerset, and he's probably second or third in the pickings and struggles to get in the Somerset side. But they believe in his talent and his youth and want to expose him to international cricket really early. So you've got that, and then you've got 30-year-old Robinson, who's had a little bit of a challenge in his career, has taken wickets well for England, but yeah, has had other challenges. So maybe his face just doesn't fit right now. But I don't think it now will. Like, if you're not picking Robinson at 30, I don't know when you will pick him.
Nah, yeah. I mean, like McCullum had his say about him after that India tour and stuff like that as well, didn't he? So whilst he's still there, then he's probably not likely to get back in the side.
I don't think so. You've got other players like Potts that are still to come in as well. So the reserves of the pace bowlers are there without needing to go to Robinson.
What about Archer? I haven't heard of him in a while. Probably like since 2021.
I mean, they'll be looking to Archer for the Ashes and primarily for the Ashes only. I don't think they care about Archer being in any conditions but Australia and yorking and fast bowling at the Australian batsman. That's what they'll have him in mind for. They're protecting his body, his very, very fragile body, and just play him in the one days or the T20s where he's just bowling 4 to 10 overs. Like if he was in this Pakistan tour, running around the field for 8 hours in 35-degree heat, bowling 3 spells in a day, every day. It's just, it's not how you want to use him. Like if you've got a tour you want to use him for, it's going to be Australia down under, not Pakistan in the middle of winter. I say middle of winter. It's now English cricket winter. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching Joe Root bat in these conditions, on these roads. Just keep accumulating that ridiculous amount of runs that he's getting. If he continues on his current trajectory, I think he's got 4 more years batting to become the all-time run scorer and overtake Tendulkar.
Okay, I thought he's already taken over Cook, right?
He overtook Cook. Yeah, he overtook Cook. He started accumulating more records this summer.
4 more years, though. Can you do that?
4 more years. So he's 33. So he'll need to play until he's 37.
At the
and
level
continue at the current, which is
hard.
Yeah.
It's a bit like when people talk about Haaland catching Shearer in the Premier League goals. Like you'd be surprised how many years Haaland needs to do that and to continue scoring at the rate that he is. So just shows you how amazing those achievements are that, like, in this case, Shearer and Tendulkar.
Mm-hmm. Nah, Shearer that's different, man. How many goals is it?
260?
Yeah, a bit more than 260. I think it's 265.
In the Prem, yeah.
In the Prem, that's insane.
Because he only started accumulating.
Oh, it is exactly 260, you're right, yeah.
Was it 260 on the nose? He only started accumulating in his second season at Blackburn, but he scored in the league 31, 34, 31, 25, 2, 14, must have been injured, 23, 5, 23, 17, 22. Like calling out so many 20 plus and three consecutive 30 pluses is incredible. But then to finish his career 23, 17, 22, 7, 10. What a player. Not such a good manager. Was he player manager?
No.
I love the player manager role. Bring that back.
I saw a brilliant picture of Brian Robson being unveiled as Middlesbrough's player manager. Like he's got the top half in a suit, bottom half shorts and football socks.
That's so crazy. How many elite players do we even know that went up to be top managers? And I'm talking elite players, elite managers in the Premier League.
Hold on a second.
I don't know, you put me on the spot there.
Well, Pep wouldn't count as an elite player, would he? Like, he was a good player, but not elite.
That pitch is amazing, Josh. I might put that as the thumbnail for today's podcast. Notable football player managers: Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, Glenn Hoddle. Who did Glenn Hoddle do it for?
England, yes.
England, maybe. But did he win a trophy?
He didn't win a trophy, but he was tactically forward-thinking. So
essentially,
there were calls for Hoddle. There were calls for Hoddle to come back in the last 5-10 years. Pre Southgate, people were saying Hoddle was still an option.
That was not.
I think it depends how. I mean, it sounds like, Femi, that these players need to be like regular Champions League players and also regular Champions League managers, and that's maybe how you're defining elite in both of those contexts.
Yeah, you're throwing the word elite around. Speaking of elite, Ryan Giggs was appointed player coach by David Moyes. Who else have we got? Gianluca Vialli and Ruud Gullit at Chelsea. Glenn Hoddle at Chelsea. Chelsea have got form for the player coach.
Yeah, Chelsea went through a period of doing it. Bracken was like a classic player coach. Yeah, Brian Robson, obviously.
Peter Reid at Man City.
Yes, that's a good one.
That's a great one. This is a quiz. What a great quiz this could have been. Anyway, right, let's call it a day there. That's a lovely place to end with a picture of Robson in his half shorts and socks.
I've put that in the WhatsApp group, and James has absolutely no context for it, and he's just seen it. So
let's see. Email us, James, at allsportspods@gmail.com. That's allsportspods@gmail.com. And we will catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.